Welcome to this special edition of Daily Pulse, where we keep your finger on the pulse of the latest breaking news and the news they're keeping from you. Brought to you by the Vigilant Fox and Zeee Media. I'm your host, Maria Zeee. It's no secret the surveillance state is growing exponentially every single day, especially as AI capabilities grow. But so many people aren't aware of just how pervasive this surveillance state has become. Glenn and Eric Meeder from Privacy Academy have been battling for our personal liberties when it comes to privacy for years, and they agree it's getting scarier by the day. We're now at the point of government talking about AI surveillance in our homes. Yes, you heard that right. That is a conversation happening in the US as we speak. Glenn and Eric say there is a solution to all of this and it isn't too late. They join us today to discuss. Glenn and Eric Meeder, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am very excited to tell our viewers about what you guys are doing over at the Privacy Academy. This is something that is a growing need in people all over the world. And for people who are watching in the US who think that some of the things we're going to talk about aren't coming here, I have a bridge to sell you. So very, very important that people tune in to all the different ways that our privacy is being encroached upon and how people are addressing this issue, like Glenn and Eric. I would really love to start with you, Glenn, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you interested in privacy.
Sure. I've been interested in privacy for probably a decade or more. Edward Snowden, the Patriot Act, those things really got me going with learning about privacy and using it. But then the COVID tyranny really got me interested in teaching it, because what I could see with the COVID tyranny was this is a globally coordinated effort to crush our liberties. And the technology side of it is key. This is key to what they're doing. And I think it's very important people understand how our liberties are being attacked. And that is through our technology, that is through surveillance. They are totally locking us down, and we have to wake up to this.
Such a powerful statement. Thank you, Eric. A lot of people saw what happened during COVID and they think that time's over, but as someone who reports on tyranny, I am seeing more and more of this. And of course, we see this in countries like the UK and Australia and Canada talking about retroactively, Canada was floating. I don't know whether they passed that or not, retroactively, persecuting people for their speech. Now we have 30 arrests a day in the UK for opinions. And of course, it's just increased since the period of COVID. So talk to us about some of the more extreme things that you've seen since that era.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a friend that lives in the UK, and he tells me about how extreme it is. And he is personally afraid as well. I mean, I would be if I would live there. I have some friends out there, and I don't want to visit because I'm so vocal about this. I don't want to be one of the 30 that gets arrested. So it's very extreme, and they're rolling this out very fast. And of course, they have their excuses for it. They say it's the Online Safety Act. It's about protecting the children, when in reality, it has nothing to do with child safety. It's all about how do we gather more control? How do we provide a strong enough argument where you can't argue against it? Because if I say I'm against the Online Child Safety Act, what does that make me look like? I mean, who's against online child safety?
Right.
It's really a lose-lose situation to argue against them on it.
Yeah, we were reporting recently on a case that is happening at the moment. Roblox is in a whole bunch of hot water because they have failed to address serious issues on their platform. But what's being proposed by a Republican AG in Louisiana is age verification or age assurance for adults online. Glenn, talk to us about what you know about age assurance and what this actually is.
Yeah, so this age verification, they're talking about the Online Child Safety Act. This is all about surveillance. They don't care about your kids. This is all about surveillance. So when you have to prove your identity online to access a certain site, they want to lock you down and have total surveillance on you. And we cannot have liberty
with surveillance. We need privacy to have liberty. And that's really our premise. That's what we work on is, privacy is essential for liberty.
Right, absolutely. I don't want the government's eyes in my living room, but that's kind of what's been proposed just over the last week, Eric. I saw that unfortunately, many outlets that people perceive to be on our side were talking about, things like gun control and surveillance. And then we saw the First Lady herself talking about AI surveillance starting in the home. It's really closing, the walls are closing in, it seems. And so for people that think it isn't happening here, I really challenge you to reassess just how many steps are being taken in the US. But Eric, where do you see the difference between somewhere like the Australia and the UK that don't have First Amendment protections, and how easily they've done what they've done over there compared to the steps that they're taking here?
Absolutely. Well, you can see that they're much more confident about speeding it up. One of the specialties of globalists is what I call the totalitarian tiptoe, where they slowly encroach on your God-given rights one step at a time. And they do it in a way where they don't push you over the edge. They just get you further and further and further until you're like, oh, well, it's fine this time. I'm not willing to go to jail or die over this, until all of your rights are taken. And so in a place like England or Australia, where the First Amendment isn't as clear as it has been in the US, they've been able to move faster. And another parallel too is if you look at China. I mean, they have been under communism, they have been under complete control, and they were very blatant in rolling out a social credit system. And if you look at how they're going to do it in the West, it's a lot more deceptive. It's using things like greater good arguments, carbon scores, that sort of thing. So it will take more time, but they are definitely doing it.
So I want to talk about the education that you two both provide, but I want to talk first about your understanding of the implementation of this. Eric just mentioned carbon scores. If you're an Amazon shopper, you'll already see that there are options, for example, to deliver on a climate-friendly day. To think that those things aren't being tallied up against you as we speak is very naive. Glenn, talk to us about some of the more sinister things that you've uncovered in the ways that they're building this totalitarian digital prison.
Yeah, so we were just talking about the Online Child Safety Act, and they're doing it in the guise of protecting kids from porn. But already in Texas, and actually Australia too. Australia, they're saying, okay, you can't even access a search engine unless you prove your identity and prove your age. What does that have to do with your age? In Texas, they are saying that you can't access an app store without proving your age, which means that, I mean, this shows you the slippery slope and how fast they're moving down this slippery slope. And they're moving very, very quickly on this, because I think what they learned from COVID is they don't want us to give a chance for us to really understand what they're doing. They're slipping this in. They're coming at us from all sides. They're doing, the Child Safety Act. They're doing, Google, Microsoft, Apple, they have AI on our computers right now that is watching us. It's taking a screenshot of our screens every second. The AI that lives on our computer is analyzing that, understanding it. And that is like having an FBI agent looking over your shoulder 24/7, never blinking. This is already in place. All
Yeah.
of these things are already in place, and we just need to be aware of this. They're moving fast on this.
Yeah,
Could I add something to that quick too?
absolutely.
Yeah, and so if you look at the way that they gather it, that's one aspect. But how you mentioned how they slipped in the carbon scores, they are very devious in what they are profiling you on. And so, for example, if you look at Palantir, that is the centralization of your data. So they will go to the different government entities and combine all of yours into one data point. But then it goes further than that because they're colluding with big tech. So, for example, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, all of these companies are gathering as much information on you as possible, like your relationships, your dating styles, what you spend money on, how you make money, your beliefs, whether it's religion or political, whether you're a skeptical person or not. And all of these are small details that they're rallying up to create a profile on you that knows you more than you know yourself, that will be used to predict you to manipulate you and ultimately control you.
Very good point. Pre-crime. So a little while ago, I was reporting on what was happening in Argentina. People were very upset with me because they're like, how dare you say that Javier Milei is doing anything wrong? I don't know why people are so protective of him. And I'm like, guys, the government's always doing something wrong. It doesn't matter who they are. They're always going to do something wrong, right? So they were implementing essentially pre-crime. Now, I don't know which company's running that. It's probably Palantir, but I don't know. But it is profiling all of your online activity, looking at what websites you're visiting, what comments you may or may not write. You may start to write a comment and delete it. Guess what? AI's got that. Just like the emails with Gmail, right? That's what Gmail does. Even if you don't send an email, it's tracking what you've intended to write. And then now they're at the point, and a lot of people don't even understand this, of talking about digital twins. So Authentics, which X uses for age verification, is actually have openly said, and that's Authentics is actually going to be what the Australian government's going to use for age verification. They openly admit that they're building digital twins of everyone. So this is logging everything, from the seconds that you look at a post that may be unfavorable towards the government, building a profile on you to use against you in the future. It's literally Minority Report.
Yeah. And let me say one thing about CBDCs too, because most people don't understand what CBDCs are. So you mentioned earlier that there's 30 people a day being arrested in the UK for tweeting something or whatever. What they're moving to, the thing about CBDC is not that it's digital, it's that it's programmable. So what they're going to do when they have the CBDC in place is, instead of arresting people, you're just going to get a $500 fine instantaneously. And you do it again, okay, here's a $200 fine. There's no appeals process. You're not going to be able to do anything about it. Instantaneous subtraction from your account. And in that way, they're going to train you like a dog, and it's going to be very effective. That's how they're going to do it. So that's what's really dangerous about a CBDC, is total control and total manipulation.
It's
on
interesting.
An individual level.
In America, people are under the impression that that'll never happen. President Trump made the statement that he'll never allow CBDCs. But if you look at the Genius Act and you look at the stable coins and you understand programmable currency, you don't necessarily even need a CBDC. You just need programmable digital currency, right? And as someone who's been debanked for my journalism, I can tell you it's really ugly to get debanked for your beliefs. And it would scare a lot of people. So, and if you just look at how many people folded in the COVID era because they had a threat to their income, imagine when their bank accounts start getting switched off for their opinions online. I think a lot of people are very likely to fold at that stage, but not if they become educated now and understand these threats and what they can do about them to protect themselves. And you are so right, Glenn. It is coming in like a freight train. It is happening so quickly. This acceleration, particularly, I would say, over the past 6 months, I've never seen anything like it. So talk to us, Eric, a little bit about what Privacy Academy actually does and how this helps people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Privacy Academy is the best option for non-techie people who want to get private and secure, especially for protecting their liberty. Like Glenn said, he's been talking about this for over a decade as a newsletter. And over time, it just kind of progressed. I mean, we started off doing a course, and then we had multiple courses. And then really the thing that got people excited was we started adding, you could get a membership where you have weekly live training. And so what I consider that like is a course is like you go to the gym. And then if you get the membership, that's like having a personal trainer. So we have a team of privacy experts. We do weekly trainings. You can talk with them directly, get your answers. And it's fantastic. I mean, since we've done that, we have seen a fantastic adoption of privacy technology, because what we do is really mission oriented, and that's the end goal. Is we want to see people not just buy a course and think that's enough and never actually do it. We want to see people take the course and actually take the steps to get private, because that's what we need for liberty's sake.
100%. So Glenn, talk to us a little bit about that process. We'll get into some of the things that you guys teach, a little bit more specifics, but what is the process for people when they're just starting out? They know that there's a problem. They don't want to submit to all of this sort of stuff. What do they do about it?
Yeah, so the main thing is one of the things that we teach is there's three threats. So there's hackers and scammers, big tech, and big brother. All three of them want the same thing. They want your data, and they want to then collect as much data about you and then weaponize it against you. So one of the keys is to stop your flow of data. So we take people through a process of a planned approach where we basically just break each step down into bite-sized pieces, and we just say, okay, now do this, and don't think about anything else. Don't go out to YouTube and all these other, the web and look, because one of the risks is there is a lot to know here, and you can easily get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we just really focus in on, okay, now do this, then do this, then do this. And each step of the way, there is a module where you can learn on your own, you can go at your own speed, but then there's a corresponding live training that goes with that module to answer any questions that you have on that. So we take it in a very efficient way and a very simple way to get people really trained up on this.
That's really good, because I talk to a lot of people about privacy concerns and they really have no idea what to do about it. They don't even know where to start. So someone that's able to present the basics to them is vital. Eric, talk to us about some of the questions people have come to you with, or the problems people have come to you with, and the solutions that you've been able to provide for them.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that we haven't even talked about is the aspect of hacks and scams, which privacy and security is actually, I mean, that's your immediate threat. You could lose your bank account tomorrow. And we've had countless people, I mean, hundreds come to us, say that they've lost it. And we've helped a lot of people recover, their life savings. And that's one of the most fantastic feelings in the world. So that's one aspect of it. But we see people from all age ranges. I mean, there's some people in our audience that are over 80. They said that they weren't tech savvy to start with. And then they stay with us for a long time, like maybe a year. And we get this message and they're like, I'm so confident on my computer. I've got a private browser. I have a password manager. I use my VPN. I even use a Linux computer now, and I have a de-Googled phone. And it's, knowledge is really the key to getting private, because there's no silver bullet, and it might take some time, but you can decide how far you want to go. And even someone like that has been able to go to an extreme length, I would say. So it's fantastic.
Right. So you are able to help people starting out with the basics, but also help them through to becoming more advanced. And Glenn was saying like modules. So talk to us about some of those modules.
Yeah. So to start out, we go over the basics. So for example, like how to switch to a private browser and search engine in order to, stop being tracked and also have access to unfettered, uncensored information. And then we talk about things like, okay, private email now VPNs. Now we talk about how to make your phone more private. And then we can keep going where we can go down the road of, okay, what about some devices that you can use, like hidden camera detectors? I mean, that's more scam related, but I use that every time I go to an Airbnb. We talk about putting a VPN.
Can I just say, I've
on the
seen
router.
all of these like horror stories of people having hidden cameras in their Airbnbs. It's crazy. But sorry, please go on. You're talking about VPNs.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I was just in some of the advanced stuff. I mean, we talk about private crypto like Monero. We talk about putting a VPN on your router. Exactly. We talk about Linux. We talk about Graphene OS, which is the de-Googled phone, like how to use it. And, that we just cover a lot of different aspects.
Yeah, that's fantastic. On the topic of VPNs, I know that governments who, like the UK and Australia, are, monitoring for hate speech from citizens, and people have said, well, I'll just use a VPN. And the government's actually come out and floated, we're actually going to be monitoring VPN usage as well. So is there a way to do that privately?
Yeah, so a VPN there are different VPNs out there. The key to understand what the VPN is, there are hundreds of VPN companies out there. You have to get the right VPN. And because there can be some fishy stuff that goes on with VPNs too. But if you get the right one, you can be pretty secure in that. And, what I suggest for those people that are in the countries that are locking people down and not letting them have freedom of speech, I think a VPN is a crucial tool. I don't promote, going against the government. I promote liberty and standing up for liberty. And I view that as different. I view that as, we have our God-given rights, and the state doesn't have the authority to infringe upon those God-given rights. So what we fight for is liberty, and you have your individual liberty that you need to fight for and stand up for. And if they make a VPN illegal, you have to make your choice. Are you going to just comply, or are you just going to stand up for your God-given rights?
Yeah, I think it's insane that it's like I said, it's just the walls closing in on from every single angle, and people have said, "Well, I'll just unplug," and that's all well and good, and I understand people's decision to do that. But the fact of the matter is that your ability to say you want to unplug from activism altogether, you don't want to post anymore, you don't want them looking at what you're looking at. Okay, fine. How are you going to know what's coming or what's going on? Because you're not going to learn about it from the mainstream media. How are you going to learn about local causes that you need to get involved in, or perhaps you need to fight back against some legislation that's going to be detrimental to your future? You're going to learn from being online, and it is an effective tool. So there has to be a way for us to use that tool for the right reasons without being spied upon, having our every single move spied upon. And that's exactly what Privacy Academy is about. Eric, I know that we have an upcoming webinar. Talk to us about what people actually experience at your webinars and what they learn.
Absolutely, yeah. So the webinar is a class that Glenn holds. The first hour is, well, I guess the first 20, 30 minutes is kind of setting the scene, which I know a lot of you will be aware of, but I know there's a lot of stuff in there that you're not aware of. And I think it's a very important segment. And then after, we start going through 5 actionable steps that you can take right away. And I think it's a really exciting and also empowering time because, like you said, everyone wants to be private, but they don't really know the steps that they can take. So right after the class, you'll have 5 steps that you can take right away. And after you take those steps, you'll feel really good about it.
Yeah, that's
And we also have
amazing.
an hour of Q&A as well.
Q&A as well. And then people, if they want to, so that webinar to attend is free, and people, if they
Yep.
want to access your modules and all of that, they can as well. But they can go to privacyacademy.com/pulse, and that is how they can access the webinar for free. The first one that you're going to do for our viewers is going to be on Wednesday, the 10th of September at 11 a.m. Is that Eastern or Central?
That is Central Time.
Central Time. Okay. So everyone, Wednesday, the 10th of September at 11 a.m. Central is when you need to access this webinar. Again, it's free, and it's going to teach you a whole bunch of stuff that you need to know about keeping your privacy intact while the government's trying to destroy it from every single angle. Glenn, I know that you talk about, I'm just looking at the top 5 steps here, and I'll bring it up for the viewers so that they can have a look. When you go to privacyacademy.com/pulse, this is the page that you're going to go to, and it shows you the webinar date and time. You just put in your name and your email address, and you can register for that. But one of the things that you really focus on is CBDCs, digital IDs, and social credit systems. And I think just talk to people about how when they protect their privacy, they're actually stopping that social credit system from being created.
Well, I think I think the first step is that we have to get our own house in order. The bigger step about actually stopping the CBDC and all of that stuff is we have to get active, and we have to get active, I believe, on a local level. But I don't think you can do that until you get your own house in order and know how your privacy is being impacted, and you get the surveillance under control, and you stop giving them your data. And so that's the first step, is to get your own house in order. And then we need to actually get involved. And I would say this is the difference of like the old fashioned kind of prepper view, where you're just going to kind of hunker down and let the world burn while you're sitting back in your bunker. We can't do that, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to enslave humanity. They're putting the systems in place to enslave humanity. And if we do not work together to stop this, then our children will not know liberty, and we will not know liberty in a very short period of time. But as soon as they have the claws in, it's going to be very hard to stop this thing. We have a small window of time that we can stop this.
Such a good point. And for the people that think, well, I'm just going to hunker down and, become a hermit and I have my food and my water and I'm going to be just fine. And my room's made of, Faraday. That's all well and good. But the plan is to move everyone into smart cities. The plan is to corral everyone into surveillable spaces. Do we really think they're just going to willy-nilly let people live out in the bushes? They're not. And so if we don't put a stop to this, our individual liberty will eventually be infringed upon. This is the point. So education around these things is so important. Eric, your closing words for everyone. Why is this so important for everyone to know about?
Absolutely. Well, I think we have entered a new era. I mean, when the internet and new technology came around, we entered a new era, and it happened so seamlessly that we haven't even noticed it. But the rules of life have changed. And awareness and knowledge is the most important thing we can take into our lives nowadays, because everything is designed to surveil us and to control us. Our smart devices are Trojan horses. The social media is designed to create addictions through dopamine, and then it's designed to manipulate you as well. So we need to really be aware and grab all of our technology and switch it to privacy and freedom oriented, because we're facing one of the most controlled futures possible. And if we actually make the difference or make the change to create the difference, we might see one of the best free societies ever.
Yeah, great point. Because with technological, I'm not against technological advancements. I'm just against the ways that they use them against us. So if we can actually harness the technological advancements for our benefit, we can most certainly have a better future. What I'd love to do, this was just really, a broad overview for our audience so that they can get to know what Privacy Academy is about. Again, this is a free resource for everyone. Go to privacyacademy.com/pulse and register for the top 5 steps to exit the surveillance state and protect yourself online webinar. This won't be the last broadcast that we do with Privacy Academy. In fact, I would love to dig into some of more of the specifics with you both next time around. But Wednesday, the 10th of September at 11 a.m. Central is when it's going to be. privacyacademy.com/pulse is where you go to register, and we really encourage everyone to do that. You're talking to 2 people here that are very passionate about your freedom and your privacy, and I think that I'm just glad that we've come across you guys. It's an incredible resource for our people. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
One more time, that link is privacyacademy.com/pulse to register for the free webinar happening on Wednesday, the 10th of September at 11 a.m. Central. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We are very grateful to all of our viewers and the supporters of this show. We air every single weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we plan on continuing to bring you the latest breaking news and the news they're keeping from you. We are backed by you, the viewer. That way we can always tell you the truth, no holds barred. The way to support us to stay independent is by shopping directly with our sponsors who make this show possible. Their links are in the description below. Make sure to follow Vigilant Fox on X at Vigilant Fox, as well as Substack to stay up to date with the latest breaking news. Follow Zeee Media on Rumble, where we also air this show each weekday and post our other deep dives. Follow at ZEE_media on X. And as always, all of our content is also on zeemedia.com. Join us every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tell everyone about it. And as always, keep your finger on the pulse with the Daily Pulse. Good night.